20-year-old Muslim man named Rehan, living in New York City, was staring at his phone around 3 a.m., his eyes wide open, searching for something incredibly difficult. His room spoke volumes about his life. Clothes scattered on the bed and hanging on the door, dust on the furniture, and cobwebs on the walls. At 5:30 a.m., the time for Fajr prayer, several alarms began to ring. Rehan's hand emerged from under his blanket, switching off all the lights on his phone screen. In his darkened room, his mother called him 3 times, worried. Many tabs ran open on his phone, some containing Islamic lectures he wanted to watch, others filled with inappropriate videos that kept him awake all night. Outside, the beautiful call to prayer began to sound. The birds started to sing, and the sun began to rise. But Rehan ran out of the darkness and stayed back to sleep at 11 a.m. Finally, he ran out. She woke up immediately, feeling bad. She picked up her phone. It seemed as though he couldn't help her anymore. I really want to do this, she thought. Some bad thoughts raced through her head. He received a lot of notifications from social media. His mother sends a message saying, "My son, I hope you are well. Don't forget to pray." Ran glances at his prayer app. It's been a long time, and it's almost time for Dua prayer. He tells himself, as he does every day, "I'll change tomorrow, God willing. I'll go to bed early tonight." His room seems to know this isn't true. He said it many times before. Ran sits at his desk with his medical books open. He needs to study for his exams. His phone sits near his books, always catching his attention. He opens his anatomy book, trying to concentrate. But after just a few minutes, his hand reaches for the phone. Just for a minute, he tells himself. But that minute turns into 2 hours. He's just scrolling. Suddenly, he sees videos and posts reminding him of his exam next week, and his heart starts racing as he realizes he's wasted another day. When Maghrib prayer time arrives, Ran feels a little guilty and moves towards his prayer mat. But then his phone beeps. A new episode of his favorite show has started. A voice in his head says, "Just watch one episode, then pray to concentrate better." After 3 episodes, he rushes into his prayer, reciting the words quickly without even realizing it. His heart, after he finishes, thinks about it. "I hate living this way, but I can't stop what's happening to me." At dinner, Rehan sits with his family, but he feels distant from them. His little sister, Sarah, is excited to talk about her day at the Islamic weekend school. Her eyes are bright as she shares a new part of the Quran she learned. Their father talks about things happening at the mosque, a new youth program, community events. He seems happy and connected to the community. Rehan's mother watches her son with worried eyes. She sees how he pushes his food onto his plate late and always looks at his phone under the table. "My son, there's a nice youth program at the mosque tomorrow. Maybe you can study, Mum." Rehan interrupts her and doesn't even look up from his phone. His mother stops talking and looks at his father, and they exchange a worried look. Every day, Rehan feels more and more worried. His family is not far away, but in his heart. It is midnight. Some Muslims wake up at this special time for prayer, but for Rehan, it is just another sleepless night. His room is dark except for the light of his phone. He feels empty inside and tries to fill this feeling by watching more and more videos. He starts by opening an Islamic video he had saved previously and really wants to watch, but one click leads to another, and soon he is watching things he knows he shouldn't. At first, he feels excited, but this feeling quickly turns into shame and self-loathing. He puts his phone down, then picks it up again, locks it, then unlocks it again, as if it is a dance he cannot stop doing for a moment. He thinks clearly and opens the Quran app, but the words do not make sense to him. His heart feels too ashamed to find peace, even in the words of God. After another night spent on his phone, Rehan stands in front of his mirror for the first time in months. He really looks at himself and sees how tired he looks. But it is more than that. His soul also seems tired, he thinks. All that prayer was nonsense. He missed all the hours he wasted watching meaningless videos, all the opportunities to do good things he lost because he was stuck in his room with his phone. He couldn't even look at himself anymore. He collapsed onto the prayer rug, sobbing. His tears fell on the rug, which he hadn't felt in so long. "Oh God," his voice broke as he spoke. "I can't do this anymore. Please help me." For the first time in years, he truly meant those words. They weren't just something he said, but a genuine cry for help from his heart. That night, Rehan dreamt he was standing in front of the Kaaba. There were many people around it, but one person stood out. An old man who seemed to glow with a special light. The man came to Rehan and spoke. His voice seemed to go straight to Rehan's heart. "Your phone isn't what's hurting you. It's the lack of purpose in life. Your bed isn't what's holding you back. It's the devil who whispered in your mind and created more problems for you because you're alone. Isn't your biggest problem being your distance from God?" That morning, like any other Rehan, he rose spiritually and felt as if God had provided him with a way out. The old man gave him the best advice he had ever found for self-improvement. Yes, he made firewood with cold water and prayed in the mosque. But as with most things, this motivation was short-term. Shortly after he returned home, this feeling disappeared, and the same thoughts and feelings began to haunt him. He opened his phone and went to YouTube without any real purpose, and was stimulated by an image there to fulfill his lustful fantasies. He spent 2 hours watching bad videos. Every video he watched increased his guilt because he was destroying his mental health and wasting his time for nothing. His mother knocked on the door and said, "My son, I know what good work you are doing. Now it is lunchtime, so you better get active." Upon hearing this, he loses all his emotions in his suffering and runs and smashes his phone on the floor like a tape ball. But it does not bounce back. All of this seemed unbelievable to him. He felt the presence of the devil controlling his actions around him, and this was a personal matter to him. Overwhelmed with shame, he ran to the kitchen for lunch. He wanted to ask his mother, but the words wouldn't come out of his mouth. It was as if his tongue was blocked. He began to pray to the prophet Moses. Finally, he asked his mother, "Do you appreciate her? Because of what I was doing, I want to know what you were thinking. If you weren't studying, I thought you must be studying because you woke up early today." Rehan would have been wonderfully relieved if he hadn't smashed his phone. He was very negative about what he had done and the reason behind it. He had done it, and it was his bad habit. He picked up his second phone the second time, but with the intention of scrolling through YouTube. He grabbed the power button to turn it on, but discovered that its battery was empty, giving him a moment to think afterward. Ryan picks up his journal and starts writing down what's been on his mind. He really wants to stop scrolling through social media, but that's been his problem trying to quit, trying to control everything and just letting go. You can't stop doing something by obsessing over quitting. It just adds to the burden, which, by the way, is why most of us fail. Meanwhile, Ryan is depressed because he still has devilish desires deep down. He knows he won't stop scrolling, but he ran. He remembers the old man's advice and realizes that the devil is the culprit. He says, I realized that I was a slave to the same inner voice that once drove me to indulge in social media and other addictive behaviors. And now that same voice is fueling self-doubt and tempting me to give in to my weaknesses. He whispers that I will never be free and that I am destined to fall back into the cycle of addiction and despair. But I refuse to let Shaytan determine my fate. I acknowledge his existence, but I will not allow him to dictate my happiness. He refers to points from the old man's golden advice, and Rehan continues to write in his diary from a week ago, having watched a video about overthinking in which he learned to let go and realizes that he needs to be more present and honest with himself about why. I did that and said, now I understand. My problem is spiritual. I am trapped by my thoughts. If I am not conscious and present enough, how can I make different choices? From now on, I will fully concentrate on the fact that God is always watching me. When I have something to focus on, I will do that. You have fewer thoughts, and fewer thoughts mean more presence. If there are no thoughts, there are no desires. Apply this advice and thank your brother Rehan later. It's not the end, but he's reading the Quran and praying to God. Rehan says, "Finally, I'm disciplined. I really did it." A short while later, he hears his phone ringing. Your phone is charged. There was complete silence in his mind and surroundings. He chose to pick up his phone and was about to click the Facebook icon. He wanted to do it when he was summoned by two forces. He asked himself, "What? Do you want to do this? Do you want to ruin my life, huh? I want to use Facebook. You'll miss something. You can always do the important work later. Now it's Rehan's turn. Are you ready? Here you go. Just because I want to doesn't mean it's good for me. Letting go of the fight doesn't mean it's good for me. Start to keep wanting it, but I don't do it, my son." What would you do if you were in Rehan's place? Tell me in the comments. I would encourage you to write down your thoughts from Rehan's journey in the comments or in your notebook if you feel connected to this story. Then like this video and subscribe to InMen for more similar videos.